Are all those pesky survivors outrunning you every game with all their haste perks? Then boy do I have the perk for you. Play with your food can be one of the best perks on some killers when used properly. Play with your food, or PWYF for the true connoisseurs of DBD, makes it so that every time that you leave a chase with the obsession, you get a 5% movement speed increase, which can stack up to 3 times, so making you 15% faster. However, you will lose one of these stacks every time you do an attack or an offensive action. People really sleep on this perk, and regularly I see people making a lot of mistakes using it, so today, in this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can get the most use out of Play the Food, and use it to its max potential. To begin, let's go through what killers that you should be using this perk on. Play with the Food is fully dependent on certain killers' powers to be good, so it's important that you know which killers can use it best. Play the Food tokens can take a bit of time to grind, so it's good to be efficient with them as possible. M1 killers with one-shot down powers such as Michael Myers and Ghostface can be some of the best users of this perk. The perk is also great on Plague since her green vomit doesn't use tokens, as well as a few other killers such as Legion, which helps you chain down frenzy hits, and Pinky Finger Clown, just to name a few. Now once you got the killer you're playing down, let's move on to the main part of using this perk, which is getting stacks fast. The biggest mistake I see a lot of people doing with this perk is by farming tokens by moonwalking in chase. Now by this I mean I see a lot of people walk backwards in chase without looking at the survivor until they eventually lose chase just because they haven't seen them in a long time. I'll explain why this is the case, but first I'll have to go through the factors on how the chase mechanic of this game works. To start a chase, certain criteria must be met. The killer cannot be standing still, and also needs to have a running survivor close by in front of them. The some killers also cannot start a chase while in certain modes, such as while cloaked as a wraith. Now the second in chase that any of these criteria is not met, a 10-second countdown will begin, which will end the chase unless those criteria are met again in that time. Make sense so far? Well, here's the important thing to note. A chase can also end instantly if the survivor in chase goes further than 16 meters away from the killer, regardless on how long the chase has been going for already. This is why ending chases by moonwalking next to a survivor is not a good play. It's just far faster and simpler to force a chase to end by instead just walking a few steps backwards. If the survivor is running away at that time, they will pass that 16-meter point and the chase will end instantly. Let's compare these two methods side by side. Both of these times I instructed the Jake just to chase me by holding W. Scenario A, I chased him the incorrect way by just trying to not look at him, while in Scenario B, I ended the chase by making distance. You'll also notice in Scenario A, it took longer because I briefly lost the Jake in a short moment as well, because I can't see him while I'm doing this, so it's very easy to just lose the survivor. While this is the core technique of getting stacks, here are a few other nice techniques that can help you out in situations as well. If the obsession drops a pallet in front of you and you still haven't started a chase with them, try to start a chase before breaking the pallet by just walking around in place before kicking the pallet. The survivor will make a bit of distance when you're kicking it, meaning you'll probably get an additional stack by the time you end up breaking it. Remember, you cannot start chases while standing still, which also means you can't start one while kicking a pallet, so it's always better to start a chase before you end up kicking it. Also, don't forget to quickly just start a chase with the obsession if you ever see them throughout the match. If you're chasing someone else and you see the obsession nearby, maybe on a generator or something, just run up to them, start a chase, and then go back to chasing the other survivor. It's free stack, never hurts, and if you see them there, you might as well. On to the next step, how to preserve stacks. Play the Food stacks are super valuable. However, they can get consumed very fast, especially if you're playing with it wrong. If you're playing Ghostface with Play the Food, only to 2-hit down healthy survivors, you are losing twice as much stacks than if you were just using your power and one-shot downing them. If you're able to get one-shot downs consistently, you can try and get to a smooth spot where you always at least have 1 stack of Play the Food, maybe even 2. Say you're at 3 stacks of Play the Food, you one-shot down, you get 2 hooks by one-shot downing, now you're at 1 stack, then you may see the obsession once or twice, then you're back at 2 or 3, and you keep that constant flow where you're always keeping a few stacks. Also, don't forget to go for grabs on injured survivors if you ever get the chance to do that too, since grabs don't even consume any tokens at all. Your extra movement speed can also help you get some grabs at certain pallets that might be unmind gameable if not. For my final part of this guide, I thought I might also show you guys how there can be some ways that you can counter this perk as Survivor as well. A lot of times I describe this perk as an anti-hold W perk, because a lot of the times holding W when they do that constantly is what lets you get play the food stacks so quickly, since by doing that you can just take a couple steps backwards and end chase. By not running far away every time you get the chance and every time the killer walks towards you at the slightest movement, it takes much longer to get stacks than it would otherwise. Also, what makes the perk so viable on killers like Ghostface and Myers is the fact that they can one-shot down and preserve stacks more efficiently. So if you're playing around that and countering Ghostface's power, you also make it so then the killer has to spend twice as much stacks to use it, which makes it no longer viable to farm stacks consistently. So yeah, if you can counter Ghostface's power, or any other one-shot down killer's power, say Plague by constantly cleansing, you're also countering Play the Food. You'll notice here in this clip, I'm still happy chasing the killer and running around, but I'll walk around every time the killer has line of sight of me. That way, I don't start a chase with them. So you can do strategies like that, but I'm not, going out of my way, getting hit in order to avoid it. If I start a chase, I start a chase. The important thing is just I'm not feeding him stacks. So here I was able to walk to the pallet, even when he had line of sight of me, I'm still safe from getting a hit. So yeah, I'm not going to go out of my way to, walk and go down and get on hook just to avoid getting the stacks. But if there's a scenario that you can stop a chase from starting, you might as well. Generally, if you're on the survivor side and you see me not hit the obsession if they're walking around and not avoiding chase, usually it has nothing to do with play the food stacks. More often, I don't want to hit them because I may have them 99'd, or I may not want to lose save the best for last stacks. I have a lot of people who think that this is a foolproof strat, walking around as the obsession and letting them hook you to counter play the food. Yeah, usually it has nothing to do with play the food. Even if you want to as killer, you can always just injure a survivor, and that actually forces a chase to start as well, even if they're walking. So yeah, if you're walking around and I'm not hitting you, it has nothing to do with play the food. Alright, I think that about does it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know it's been a while since I've gone and done a YouTube video, but I'm trying to get back into it now, so make sure you leave a like to help support me and make more of this stuff. And also check out my Twitch. I stream pretty often every week. We do some pretty cool fucking funny clips. Twitch is my main platform that I make content on, so if you want to see more Ghostface content and some more funny clips like these, yeah, make sure you check it out. You will not regret it. If there's any other things you'd like a video on, or if there's any help you'd need with this video, please leave a comment, let me know. I'd like to know, and I'll try and help you out with that, or I might make that into my next video. Thank you guys so much though, once again, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.